everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Coach O Show. My name is Ryan Beckman, along with Wildcat head football coach Chris Ostrowski. Coming up on this week's show, we take a look back at the road trip against the Ashland Eagles. We'll talk with linebackers coach Karl Maslowski and look ahead to the home game against the Walsh Cavaliers coming up on Saturday. And Coach, we knew going down Ashland was going to be a real tough opponent, and they proved that 44-14 win for the Eagles on
question.
Saturday.
Heck of a football team. I just think really well-rounded. I thought from an offensive perspective, their offensive line is as good as it gets in this league. They've got 4 really good quality tailbacks. Their first kid is really, really good. I thought the quarterback distributed the football properly, and they were on cue. You know, that's a program that's been in the works for a long time, and they're really a quality GLIAC opponent. They've won 10, 11 games every year since I've been associated with this deal. It was senior day for them. It was their last home game. And they came out and were really prepared to play, and my hat goes off to them. They did a heck of a job.
Yeah, and you look at, you talk about that program being built. I mean, there's a lot of seniors right now that see a lot of action for them.
Yeah, you know, I think they had, you know, something like 20-some seniors, you know, so it's a situation where, you know, those guys have done a lot of the work and they've won a lot of games. They know how to win. They know how to prepare. I thought their personnel was really good. They're a big, strong football team that's primed for the playoffs as you move forward. So, you know, again, I think they did a good job getting prepared. I think from a defensive perspective, they were physical, they were downhill. They were obviously prepared for us to throw it around the yard in the way they played coverage, and they were going to ensure that we had to run the football to be successful. And it was certainly a pretty good plan, and they executed it well.
What are some of the things that you'll take away and address the team about this football game?
You know, we did that today. You know, when we get this thing going and we get right back to work as we always do. These guys have a great understanding that this program cares deeply about them. I think they care deeply about the program. I don't think there's any question that we do things that I believe are indicative of winning football games and building this program the right way. You know, here's an interesting one for you, Ryan. We get on the bus, and Coach Ball sits next to me there, our offensive line coach. I said, when was the last time Northern Michigan went down to Ashland and won a football game? Just look it up for me. Yeah. So he's going through his iPad, he's looking it up, and it was 1991, and that was their first ever game they've ever played against each other. So, you know, we're battling some things that have been in place for a long time, but we're committed to getting it done, and we'll go right back to work this week, prepare for Walsh.
Absolutely, Ashland's been a tough place to play. That's for sure. We'll take a break here on the Coach O Show. When we come back, we'll talk with linebackers coach Karl Maslowski. That's next. Stick with us. We're back after this.
The Coach O Show is sponsored by
Back here on the Coach O Show, our guest this week, linebackers and special teams coach Karl Maslowski. Karl, nice to have you on the program. And let's talk first of all about Saturday's game, a tough 44-14 loss. But what did you see from the linebackers and from the defense on Saturday?
Obviously, we were disappointed in the outcome, but we played hard. You know, we wanted to go out there and stop the run, and we struggled to do that. But I thought in the second half we played well. You know, we outscored them. We stopped them running the ball. Finally, we made some changes. Coach Ballard did a really good job there, making some changes to stop the bleeding, so to speak, there. And you know, it wasn't what we wanted, but you know, I thought at the end of the day, we played harder.
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about the linebacker core overall this season, and a very talented group, and some guys that have really kind of stepped up this season too.
Yeah, we started off the season with Levi Perry as one of our junior linebackers, who actually is a captain for us, and he's done a tremendous job. He was a safety last year, and he played really well for us before he got injured. And then the guy who really stepped up and replaced him was Laran Jadu, especially this weekend. I think he had 2 or 3 tackles for loss, did a really good job there. Nick Krause has been solid for us all year, you know, being a preseason All-American. He's had a quiet year, but he's done some good things. Dalton Stenberg has been the biggest surprise probably. I believe he's leading the team in tackles, and you know, for a kid who walked on with us in the spring, he's really stepped up and done a good job. And the guy backing him up, Brent Showers, has come in and played a little bit as a true freshman, and Julian Hornback into the boundary for us has done a really good job as a linebacker and on special teams as well.
What area have you seen them improve the most this season?
You know, fundamentally, we've done a lot better this year. I think our guys understand the package a lot better. I think they're executing the way we want them to, not just what we want them to do, but the way we want them to execute. And you know, the biggest thing there is we're getting better at tackles, better at tackling. We have guys who are leading the league in tackle, or top 10 in the league at least in tackling, and they're doing a good job. And so we just got to keep getting better at that. And those are the big things we harp on: our fundamentals and tackling.
Real quick here before we end the segment, talk about the special teams. Rob Solani's been one heck of a punter for you guys this season.
He's been awesome. He's done a really good job of what he does good for us is he gets the ball off quick and he kicks it deep. He's forced a lot of fair catches, which in turn gives our defense some really, really good field position to start.
Absolutely. First in the conference in yards per punt, I think 41 yards per punt for him. So he's been fantastic for you guys from that standpoint. Coach, we appreciate the time and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a break and get into the film next. We continue on the Coach O Show right after this.
It's time for this week's trivia question. What was the total attendance for last year's season in the Superior Dome? Was it A, 13,908, B, 8,455, or C, 11,230? Find out after the break. What was the total attendance for last year's season in the Superior Dome? The correct answer was A, 13,908.
Welcome back to the Coach O Show with the video board behind us. It's time to look at the highlights, and as we usually do, let's start with the offensive highlights, Coach.
Yeah, fantastic. We go to the offensive side of the ball. We look at a set here where we're in our typical 2x2 set, and Shea Brown does a nice job of identifying coverage and gets the ball out on time, transfers his weight. You see his weight is from the front to the back. And the critical component to the play, obviously, we talk about all the time, is the protection. And you got Terrence Dye that was making his first start at tailback for us, with Wyatt Jerson being out with injury. And I thought he did a heck of a job for us. And he's stepping up and he's cutting a little bit at the line of scrimmage and gives us an opportunity to step into the throw and make a good throw, and then again, Marcus Tucker being Marcus Tucker makes an unbelievable catch on the ball and does a great job going against a really talented young man there, put us in position to score, and then consequently we scored a couple plays later.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marcus Tucker, and again, 94 yards receiving. It seems every week he's right up there near 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all-GLIAC player. I mean, he's playing that way at this point. We've got to keep pushing and pushing for the next 3 weeks, but he's playing and doing everything we're asking him to do. Again, we talk about this view all the time. It's just a end zone copy, if you will, and a great teaching tool for us. So as we look at what's going on, we do a nice job protecting and getting the ball out of our hands. Mark does a heck of a job make play on the ball.
Yeah, real great view at the catch there from Marcus Tucker.
No question. So now we get down there, and this is actually 2 plays later in the progression, and we're down there, and they're going to load the box and try to make you do some things outside of it, which means outside the perimeter. And it's just a simple little play there, and Terrence does a nice job of reading what's in front of him, and transfers his weight and gets upfield in a hurry, and that was a good football play for us.
Yeah, Terrence Dye last week gets his first receiving touchdown this week, his first rushing touchdown.
Yeah, really happy for him. I mean, he's been a great ray of light in the program from where he was when he got here 2 years ago to where he is now. It's amazing. He's doing a great job in the classroom, and he's really an unbelievable kid to have in the program, and excited for the next year and a half with him.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is at the end here. Now we have Durante Lewis at quarterback. And this is just a simple little double move, if you will. And you can see he kind of gives a little fake to perimeter and puts the ball up in the air. And Trey Hipke, who's also having a nice little year and doing a great job for us, working so hard. I believe that's his first collegiate touchdown.
Is, yes.
So a good way to go for Trey.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the two scoring drives, they were sustained drives, 11 plays in 12 plays, and one goes 98 yards. So from that standpoint, you had to be pleased with those two drives.
Yeah, no question. We went in the halftime, and obviously we haven't been in that situation this year. This team hasn't been in those deals. This could easily be a really, really dynamic football team right now, but it didn't work that way for us. So now we're in halftime, and it's been given to you a little bit. It hasn't been that way for us this year in the 8 games we played or 7 games previous. So now we say, let's just find a way to stay together and win the third quarter. Well, we did that. Now let's try to find a way to win the fourth quarter, and we did that too. So we were able to hang in there and compete a little bit in the second half.
Yeah, you happy with the way the team responded after halftime?
Yeah, I'm always happy with the way these guys respond. They believe in what we're trying to get done, and they want to win so badly, and they're really working hard to achieve it. So yeah, I was happy with them.
What, as you look ahead with the offense here, what a little different running game, a little different look with the running game this week with Terrence Dye?
Yeah, no question. Terrence brings you a little bit more of a slasher. Wyatt's more of a downhill runner. But when you're dealing with some depth issues, there's always going to be an interesting dynamic to what you're trying to get done. But we'll move on and move forward, and that's what good football teams do. So I'm excited to see Terrence keep growing and see Wyatt come back healthy and all the things you need to do to win.
Absolutely. We'll take a break. We'll look into the defensive highlights next right here on the Coach O Show.
The Coach O Show is sponsored by
Back here on the Coach O Show as we continue looking at highlights from the Wildcats game against the Ashland Eagles, as we move on to the defensive highlights. And the defense really tightened up in the second half, Coach.
Yeah, no question. Again, a real big physical group up front. This came at a big place for us. This is third down, and they're sprint out, so they're moving their pocket and trying to create a little bit of move there. And I thought we did a heck of a job getting after the quarterback. And you can see we got a lot of pressure and guys really working hard to get to their mark, if you will. And Nick does a great job. Nick Krause on breaking on the football, and that was a huge stop for us at that point, for sure.
As a senior, when you look at that play, Nick Krause is kind of a good timing play, and a guy that, does that come with time to be able to make plays like that? Or
There's no question. He's played just about every second in the last 3 years for us defensively, and we talk about it every week. Nick's on these things, for a reason. He's really a heck of a player, as good a player as I believe, at any position group we have at this point. So now we get ourselves in the red zone, and you got to create some stops here. We know how important that is, and I thought we did a really nice job in coverage. So we're back in coverage, and we're covering some people and made some changes that way. And then you get home and you get after the quarterback, and there's really nothing better than that. And again here, the reverse view, which is the teaching tool view, and we were able to collapse the pocket a little bit, and you got all those guys, and Trevor and Jordan and Dante getting after the quarterback. So that was pretty good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As we move on here to the next set, next play, great football play for us. Got to stop the run if you play Ashland, and we're getting to the football pretty good, and we create a turnover, and that was huge. No turnovers on a day for us.
Right.
You're talking about a football team went down there and had to protect the football. We did that. We were well, I believe, right around that 55-56% on third down ratio. So we're able to create a turnover here, and I thought it was just a great effort. And Jamarco Willingham, 97, who's a redshirt freshman, who's going to be a good player for us, impact type kid, I think. And as we get going, we're scrambling to get the football, and we came up with it and put ourselves in great position to score some points there.
Yeah, absolutely. And take a look at that look from it. But again, as you said, the defense tightened up there in the second half. I think allowed just 10 points in the second half.
No question, really did. And I think they played with a tremendous amount of reckless abandon. You need to do that, play defense. And any group that's quitting doesn't get that done in the third or fourth quarter. It means you got to play with great effort, and we did that.
Well, one guy that Coach Maslowski talked about earlier in the show tonight, and that's been Dalton Stenberg, and we've talked about him a couple of times, but again, a guy that has stepped up, 10 tackles this past week, and I think over the last 5 weeks, that's 50 tackles for him.
Yeah, big, strong kid, understands football, has got a decent amount of football instinct, if you will. Excited for Dalton. He's a sophomore in our program. He's going to continue to grow and get bigger and stronger. And you're looking at a 6'1", 6'1.5", 6'2", 225, 230-pound young man that's going to continue to grow and get better and better. But again, plays with really good defensive instincts, and I think is only going to blossom as he moves forward in the program.
Did you know that was the type of player he was when you
when we evaluate our guys, there's a walk-on procedure, if you will. We let them try out, and 90% of the time it's not anyone that's been pretty accomplished as a player before that. But he was. We knew it. We saw him on film as a high school player, and so we say, hey, let's give him a shot, and he's done everything right.
Absolutely. What do you see from the defense now going forward for the next 3 games?
We've got 3 football games. 2 of them are at home. We've been on the road, it seems like forever. I anticipate we'll continue to play with great effort. We'll run to the football and continue to make plays.
Absolutely. And as you look ahead, who else really has stood out for you defensively this year?
Loran Jadu, I think, really played good on Saturday. I was excited about that. Obviously, Jordan and Trevor up front continue to just, create a staple, if you will, for us. Pat Ryan is forever consistent in his approach and what he does. Obviously, Brandon August has come in and really been a ray of light for us. I think we've got a bunch of guys that are contributing, and they want to be part of it, so I think that's exciting.
Absolutely. We'll take a break here on the Coach O Show. We'll wrap up this show and look ahead to Walsh when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Coach O Show as we head to the final segment and get set to wrap things up. First, we'll look ahead to the Wildcats coming on Saturday, back at home. The Walsh Cavaliers in town, first time against them, Coach. Tell us about Walsh and what you've seen from them so far.
We're home,
right?
And that's huge for us, as we know.
Yeah.
So excited to be home again and do our thing in front of our home crowd. Walsh, good football program, a tremendous football area, if you will, centered in that Canton, Ohio area where there's just tons of football talent within the high school ranks in that area. They'll be very multiple on offense, I think they're physical and downhill on defense. So, scholarship GLIAC school, we're going to have to come ready to go.
We look at the remainder of the schedule. 2 of the last 3 are at home, so that's going to be a nice feeling for you guys.
Oh, really good. I feel like we've been away all year. We haven't had 2 in a row at home. 6 of our 11 games are away, so we had 6 away and 5 at home. We haven't had more than 5 games at home yet in our 3 years here, so it's good to be home, and this one will be special. And then we'll go down and play a Ferris team that's having a pretty good season, and then we'll get senior day and really be able to celebrate our seniors. So it should be a fun 3 weeks, and I'm just not in a rush for it to end. I want to get the most out of 2014 and really do as good a job as we can do in continuing to develop our player base.
Well, just over the halfway point this season by about a game. What's been the biggest surprise for you from this team this year?
I think the most positive surprise is the players' ability to believe. We've had some unbelievable misfortune, and if you're entrenched in understanding football and you really look at it, there's no other way to see it. This team could very easily be in the midst of a pretty good season, but they keep on chopping, they keep on believing, and it's been a great setting. To go to work every day and be around a bunch of coaches and players that want to be there and want to be successful. So it's not a surprise. I don't cut you off, Ryan, but it's really a pleasure to be around, and that's something that is special to me.
Real quick, what's the big key for this weekend?
The big key this week is score touchdowns in the red zone, create some turnovers and score touchdowns in the red zone. I think we do that I think we do that, we'll be fine.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the Coach O Show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
The Coach O Show is sponsored by